Okay. So we are now all set. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's my great pleasure to be with you today and with the great experts of today's meeting, Dr. Amr Sadiq and Mr. Qazi Ahmed. Inshallah, we hope this will be very useful and adding value to all people who are participating in this, inshallah. So this meetings comes to you from HR Leaders Kuwait with our mission to connect HR, organization development, and organizational excellence experts together to share their knowledge and their expertise, to develop themselves and to develop their organizations and hence develop the whole community, inshallah. So let me give you a brief about about myself. I'm Dr. Muhammad Rabia Sheikh, hosting this series of meetings. Okay, and our main aim is this series of child leaders.
Dr. Muhammad, I think some participant they unmute.
I'm checking to see who is unmuting. Who is muting?
You can see the background children playing.
Yes. So please ensure that you all mute. Okay, mics. Okay. So about myself, I've been working for almost 27 years, more than 27 years working in organization transformation in the Middle East and Africa to ensure that the Gulf region, to ensure that we have great customer and employees experience and working in many areas. And I've been working before in Arthur Andersen in Egypt and Vodafone Egypt and Zain Kuwait and Zain Group in Bahrain and Butte Investment Group. And it's my great pleasure to be with you today. And we have the great pleasure to have with us also today Dr. Amr Sadiq, and I cannot really talk about him. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Khudrat, and he's adjunct professor of HR and strategy management. He is winner of several awards in HR in different countries and ranked one of the top 20 HR most international influential thinkers, 2014. And he's teaching in various business schools and universities in different places in France, Germany, Cyprus, Syria, and Egypt for postgraduate level. And he's contributor with articles in many magazines. And actually, he's one of the HR gurus that we are really have the pleasure to have him with us today. And we also have the pleasure to have with us Mr. Qazi Ahmed, and he's the founder and president of Bangladesh for Organization and Learning and Development. And he's founder and CEO of Future Leaders, founder of vice presidents of FBHRO. He's been trained and giving training in different places, countries all over the world. And he has received also a lot of awards and from the World HRD Congress, and 27 years, also more than 27 years of training, teaching, and consulting. So actually, I don't like to talk much about our presenters or our speakers today, but we'll go to the meeting. So I will ask Dr. Amr and Mr. Qazi to have their cameras on, if possible, so that we can see them all as well. So today discussion, or I'd say it's free discussion, okay, about the role of HR in the crisis. And I will give the lead to Mr. Amr, Dr. Amr, to lead the discussions, okay, for us and to be a discussion, as we said, to talk about what's going on in the crisis, what's going on in the HR, and how can we as HR professionals deal with the crisis. So I will give the lead to you, Dr. Amr, to lead the discussions.
Thank you, Dr. Muhammad, and welcome everybody. I'm very honored to be with you and with my associate and colleague, Mr. Qazi from Bangladesh. And we hope that we're going to have a really interactive webinar. We're going to talk about the role of HR in crisis, post-pandemic approach. I seriously don't know whether it is the right time to talk about post-crisis, because we all know that crisis is still going on. However, we need to talk about some of the crises that took place earlier in the late 90s and in the early 20s. I was fortunate to be in Egypt during the tourism crisis in late 60s, where a group of Japanese were hit by tourism in Aswan. And my employer make it very clear that no one will be terminated, no one will leave the job. On the contrary, he also pay some good rewards for the people. And the second crisis, I was in Syria during financial turmoil in 27, I believe so, 28. Also, the chairman of the company disagree to release anybody. So those two incidents created an awareness in my mind that what we're going to do during coronavirus. I think, as the research says, that 2.7 billion people lost their job worldwide. And we have seen new trends in, let's say, how we're going to work or how we are working now, which is remote work. So what we're going to do after the virus, after the pandemic, how are we going to work? What HR will have to do? That's what we're going to discuss tonight, and I would love to hear from participants what they have done, and of course from my colleague Kazi. There are several scenarios in which organization can continue and employee can continue in the job. However, HR, they have crucial role in that. In this presentation, we're going to talk about some of the scenarios that we have to play, not all of them because the time will not permit. I would like to start with sense of employees' need for support. I think HR, they have to play a role in ensuring their employees that first, they're going to continue in employment. Two, they're going to have serious health care coverage, and to make sure that they don't suffer during the COVID-19. This is one of the possible scenarios that we can keep on discussing. That two, one of the scenarios also that is the values of the organization. What message do we give to our people? Is that a real values or just a piece of paper on a wall? How are we going to translate such values into action? How are we going to educate our employees about that you are the most valuable assets in the organization? We need to think of that. We need to think on real action, positive, to ensure that people are safe while they're working either at home or in the organization itself. We need to ensure that we do, as an HR, our utmost. I know that HR is not playing the right role so far in most of the organization. Still, they are doing the administrative part. I believe that this is the time that human resource practitioners have to show their strategic work to the organization and to the people. And I'd like to ask my dear friend Kazi, what do you think of the current scenarios or the future scenarios that HR can play? Please open your microphone and start.
No, thank you. This is such a pleasure for me. Perhaps I've never had the opportunity to interact with my global colleagues in Middle East and North Africa. And this is a wonderful opportunity that I first have to acknowledge that. Now, going back to your raising the issues, as you know, while you and I are talking, but soon we will also invite our friends who are in the audience. So it's not like we as HR practitioners, or I'm not an HR practitioner, HR consultant and HR trainer and so on, but very much aware of the situation that we all are facing together.
Yes.
If I were to go straight to the topic for some time, I would say I'm a big, what shall I say, believer of the ideas that, first of all, especially from the employer side, if I were to say, the employers have to think what, 2,500 years back, Stoics have said, that think of what you have control in and what you don't have control in. Now, I have seen some CEOs, some HR department heads, they would first thing they did was initially, I would say, during the pandemic, they were connecting with others. They were connecting just to call, whether, just how's everything, be safe. That was the very first week of activities. People are at home and government lockdowns, and there, as you said, 4 out of 5 people were affected. And then, of course, after the connection is done, they had to, a connection, I would mean human connection, For fun, if I were to show you a simple brain, I have a kind of a plastic brain, don't worry. So the right side of the brain is, of course, the emotion, the images, all the artistry. So the human connection, the right side. But soon they had to use their left side of the brain, of course, which means to be logical. So if this is truly head, then logic, and probably I should have shown the heart. First was the heart,
Yes.
or the right side of the brain, and then the left side of the brain representing the logic. That look, the first thing we have to do is we have to assure our customers, especially businesses where customers depend on day-to-day services. It's FMCG, it's hospitals, it's
Yeah,
most of them.
Doctor, our customers are the employees. As an HR,
Right.
our customers are the employees. Yeah.
Right, in this case, yeah, I understand. But those employees, employees are our customers, and unless our customers take care of the organization's customers, then even we have difficulty to have our customers, from the employer side. So we have to, thank you for pointing that out. I was coming, but you did the right thing. So that I would call communicating with the general public through the HR. And then the difficult part comes where when challenges are there, some people may not be able to come at office, others may not be able to work from home, yet the employer starts collaborating, not deciding alone, I must say. And I leave soon the discussion to the rest of us. So I would start by saying these 3 things: that you connected well, fine, thank you. You communicate with, the internal customers and then the external customers. But then collaboration had to be there so that nobody feels left out, nobody feels rejected and not consulted upon for difficult decision, if any, has to be made. But why am I talking about difficult decisions? This is the time for employers to be beside the employees. This is the very first idea that needs to be explored.
Yeah, unfortunately, what we have seen in different countries, that the first decision was to downsize the employees, number of employees. Second decision was to reduce the salary by 25%. Third decision is to reduce the salary by 50%.
Right.
Yeah, what kind of message and values do we give to the organization? As I said, I remember when we have the tourism crisis, we did not downsize, we did not lay off, we did not reduce salaries, because our employees are the most important. If we don't take care of them, they will never take care of the customers, our external customers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think one of the scenarios that HR need to focus is to what do the employees need for support. You have reduced the salaries, you have reduced the income, you ask them to take leave without pay, and they have to survive now. What are you going to give them so they will come back to you and stay? I will need to just pinpoint an important part of this exercise, that once an organization start to downsize or lay off or terminate and reduce salaries, they will never ever be able to recruit in future good calibers. They will afraid. They will never believe. We ask our employees to be loyal to the organization. On the other hand, we have to ask the organization to be loyal to the staff. And I do have a statement to say that in one of my employment, I asked my VP. He came to terminate the general manager. And I asked him, you ask us to be loyal to the organization, but unfortunately the organization is not loyal to the people. So why should we stay? As long as I get another offer better than my offer right now, I will leave. So we have to look, we have to seriously stress on the values. If the values saying that we are the organization that take care of people and all those good words that we are using, then it is the time now and post-COVID-19 to demonstrate that what is the support that we have to give to the people, what do they need, how are we going to give it to them. I think that is the critical role of HR right now. Yes.
Sure.
Amr, may I ask you to ensure that the voice is clearer, and maybe the mic, you need to be near the mic a little bit. Okay.
The voice is not clear after all that.
You have to be closer to the mic, I think.
Okay.
I think again, let's go back to let's go back to the main challenge that we have right now, as we are seeing here in the slide, that yes, actually the COVID has hit the people, okay, in many aspects, okay, not only in one aspect. So some people were asked to work from home and they are not used to it. Okay, some people are not sure actually what's required from them now. And some others, they don't have clear goals or objectives. Are we working or not working, and so on. Other people were afraid to be laid off from their organizations. Okay, yeah. So a lot of worry. Okay, and HR even is not sure what to do. So a lot of disturbance. Okay, so I think let's talk a little bit about the current status and what's the worrying, what's worrying the people, and what the HR is doing now, and then go to the future and talk about the future as well. Okay.
Yeah, I think the current situation is that as we hear all in the newspaper, sorry, in the news, that we are going to the second wave. How strong is the second wave? God only knows. Are we prepared? Maybe yes, maybe no. What do we have in our hand as an HR practitioners for the people? Are we going to lay off more? Going to cut salaries more? I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing strange things in the market. worldwide, not only in our country. Even in HR, I see a lot of HR leaving their position. I think this is the survival point to the organization. How organization is going to survive. That is the crisis response for the organization. That okay, let's cut costs, let people go, let them work from home. So there is a lot. I mean, we were not prepared for such huge or global crisis. That is the current scenario. I think the entire global facing the same scenarios. Downsize organization, people work from home, cut salaries, open leave without pay, and so on. Maybe some of the organizations, they start to use contingent workers. They come to do a project and leave because they don't want permanent people on board. That is the current scenario. I don't know if it's in your country or in Mr. Kazi country or any one of the participants.
Also, another point, Dr. Amr, here, that because we have a lot of expats working in the Gulf area, so many people were trapped in in other countries. Actually, their countries, original countries, are not. So this is a big problem for us. And the other thing that we also depend on many workers coming or laborers coming from abroad. Okay, so this is also another challenge that's giving a hard time for HR people. And actually, the issue with that, at the normal time, business as usual, everyone's working fine. Okay, so it's just the business is working. So nowadays, with all these challenges, again, you need competent people, competent leaders. Okay, so what's the role of HR in this? Okay, how can HR help in ensuring they have competent people, competent leader, and react also to the pandemic? Okay, we also need to hear from Mr. Kazi about this.
Sure, thank you. Building on what Dr. Amr Sadiq has said, that HR needs to be very prudent, very wise, because they are used to listening to the CEO or the president, whatever you call it, because they look up. And yet, when they do those layoffs, downsizing, they're digging their own grave, I would say, because there are two ways that they're doing it. Number one, we talk a lot about employer branding. Maybe last 5 years, this company was going to the universities, were doing ads, so much branding, so much effort done to get the talent. Mind you, some people say people are not the most valuable human resources. The right people are, the talented people are. I mean, despite somebody may be irritated by hearing this, but there are occasionally some people, some part of the population in any organization, they may not be really the employees. They may be lazy, but I don't want to talk about this now. This is not the right time to talk about that. But I want to assume that you're talking about the right people because you hired the right people. So they are essential people. So I think in our discussions, even with Dr. Amr, and we discussed this because I've seen it in many parts of the world, including my neighboring country, India, that where I saw many cases where when downsizing was talked about, why not downsizing the heavy head, the top part of the top management, where if one person is gone, sometimes 100 or 50 people can stay. So we have to think for the business, not only for the emotion, because emotion is there, the positivity, the talent retention, but also to keep in business, because soon enough, maybe in 3 months, 5 months, the business is going to pick up. And you're going to need people who are going to serve our customers, common customers, from the HR, the people who are customers. So I think HR is missing out in a big way. So they need to convince the top management that let us have it. Let us have this dialogue. Who should go? And for the organization's survival and also for the sustainability. You can always hire a part of a top management when times are good, but you may not be able to have skilled people, whether it's in the factory, whether it's in the service sector. Gosh, the business would be in a very difficult situation. You will be risking your business model. That would be my comment, Dr. Mohammed.
Let me add something. I will come back to the financial turmoil and how the organization survived. I was the chief HR officer in this organization, and the first decision that we have taken, me and the chairman and the VP, that we're going to cut benefits from the top people, including myself, and so on. And we have taken 10 steps, and the last step was to lay off employees based on a very critical performance evaluation. And final approval for people to leave was up to the HR. So I think, yes, you're right. We need, if we're going to downsize or lay off one top executive with a huge salary can let 100 people survive. I think that will be the right decision. I think we cover that, Dr. Mohammed, unless there is some question from participant on this particular issue.
Well, actually, we will ask all participants to feel free to send their questions so that we can have a discussion, okay? And it's not only
interactive
session. So let's have an interactive session.
Yeah.
The other part that I've seen also in many companies, that laying off people, and people are worried. They don't know actually why they were laid off, okay? So at least the part of communication is very important part for us or for HR people to put more attention on. Someone was telling me that we have laid off almost 80 people. So that's like 20% of their workforce. And I was telling him, okay, which basis? What's the criteria? He said, what criteria? He doesn't understand. Say, no, we said for each department that we'll lay off people. Say, okay, fine. What's the criteria? And it's very important to have very clear criteria, okay? If this is your choice at the end of the day, okay? And also have to communicate, because you have to tell the people, okay, and if you do it, khalas, do it one time. He said, no, we'll have another wave, and then third wave. Say, you cannot work like this. The productivity will, or the morale of the people will be highly affected. How can you work? How can you provide any service to your customers? How can you achieve profits? Okay, you are just cutting costs, and actually you don't know who are you getting rid of. Okay, and people will not be loyal, as you were saying now. What if the business picked off again within, say, 6 months? Say, okay, we will rehire. It's not the
Dr. Qazi spoke about branding, employee branding. So there is a contradiction. How we going to brand at the same time we're going to lay off people, terminate them without good reasons? What message do we give? I think in this current scenario and future ones, HR, they have to do frequent communication with the staff. They have to tell them exactly truth and facts. Where do we stand? Profit and loss. What are we going to do in future? So they are aware, and they will be expecting any decision from top management, but not all of a sudden. Okay, let's downsize 20%, 10%. Let's cut off. I mean, in Egypt, we have some organizations they have done wrong. completely wrong to downsize and to lay off and to cut salaries. And it was very bad. It was really very bad. And some organization, I have to say, they did not do that. They said either we survive together or we die together. It was very fact. It was really a good message to the employees. Then employees voluntarily asked to reduce salaries. They went up to the top management and they said, okay, we agree to cut off 25% of our salary. Because it was a very positive message from top management. Either we all survive, or we're going to die. Here is the sense of employees need for support. We need to support.
Quite a relevant remark. Some banks, I cannot name names because on live, some bank MDs might be listening or who knows. Some banks in Bangladesh, without consulting with employees, have done exactly what you said, Dr. Amar, that they cut 25% salaries. And the backlash on social media, the backlash in every strata of the society. And you are so right, the branding, I mean, for many years to come, has evaporated, whereas some other banks, they have written a notice that you have been working here for 5 years, 10 years, so on. Because of you, the bank made profits. And we will, even the board of directors said, we will put in our personal resources to the extent possible. It's not only heartwarming, tears in eyes. Employees are forever sold. I mean, I cannot explain. I have talked with some people, so that confirms it. And they may not realize now, but of course, in just in a few years' time, you will see the difference. Yeah, go ahead. I just one more point, Amar,
Okay,
Dr. Amar, just one more point. I found out that one small and medium company could not be in business, seriously. And they, as you said, they talked with them. They said, I just have to let everybody go. I mean, because the nature of the business. And I have this much money, so we all can stay 3 months. And then he said, depending on your strength, can you become entrepreneurs? Can you become service providers on your own? There was a website developer, graphic designer. So he has been helped with some contracts. Even that person is working independently, but this person gave now any work to that former employee. He's now an entrepreneur. I'm told that some such people are making double the salary because of such creativity. He told them, you have this many months, and that's the reality. And please seek opportunities and tell me how I can help you. So like outplacement service was provided. And in a company in Sri Lanka, they are formally doing it. A friend of mine, a coach, Deva, shared with me. He's doing coaching for them. Anyway, sorry for the long contribution. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's 2 slogans that HR or organization, they keep using, but they don't really practice it, which is investing in people, in training and development, and branding. And both of the 2 slogans were never ever practiced properly at all. So I think we need to rethink of what slogan we are using. Okay, that will lead us to that we have to reinvent the policies. We need to reinvent HR for the post-COVID. So I think practitioners, they have to go through the entire policies and start to come up with the new fresh ones. They have to accommodate remote work. They have to accommodate counseling. They have to accommodate supporting services, and God knows what else. Those are quick, comes to my mind with regard to the policy and practice of HR. If you have something, Dr. Rabia, please let us know.
Yes, actually, the point that is in the presentation now, it's about giving the employees the need and support. Actually, different people now have different emotions or in different situations. So some people left their job or is waiting or worried that they may leave at any time. Others, yes. Others, they have problems now. We know that now we have their children are studying from home, so they have online sessions and they don't have anyone to take care of them. Others, they are worried about the situation and the second wave and so on, so they are worried and anxious. Other people, they don't know how to use Zoom or work online and so on. So different people have different needs at this time. So the HR, what role they can play in this? Because they have to analyze first who is doing what are the problems, what are the issues. Okay, it's not still business as usual. Yes, many things is going back to normal, but again, it's not the normal thing. So I believe HR still need to put more effort to sense what are the needs for employees and see how can they really support them. Okay, this is one of the core real HR values or missions.
Yeah, I think the future scenario is to do the right sizing of the organization, where you really need to invest in people to upskill them, because we don't want a fat organization. We need to have really the right sizing of organization. So in the sense that maybe one person can do a couple of jobs. So that need investing in training. So one of the scenarios is to upscaling the staff, to invest on education, to invest in development. That also will have to be addressed in the future scenario.
That's right. And also I have one of the attendees was telling me about her case here. And she was telling me that after working in university for almost 19 years, okay, and hardworking and active researcher and so on, after all this, they didn't renew her contract, okay? And suddenly, after almost 20 years of working, okay, you are out, okay? So where is the loyalty? How you deal with this case, okay? And the main issue, if you are a good performer, see if you are not a good performer and say, okay, fine, maybe I understand what's going on. But if you are a good performer, you need people to recognize you for all the good work that you have done. At least you do this. So again, I'm saying this because one of the main objectives of having our HR Leaders Forum is to support and raise the awareness of the HR practitioners about their real role in the organization. It's not admin tasks. It's not that you listen to the CEO or the general manager saying do 1, 2, 3, and he's just following the orders. No, you are a people person. Okay, you have to think about the people and their emotion, their feelings, and see how can you really support them.
You see, if HR didn't talk in figure numbers, the CEO or managing director or chairman, they will never listen. So they have to talk, in order for them to play a real role, they have to talk figure. They have to tell them that if we're going to do this, we're going to lose that amount of money or that amount of business. So then only the CEO will listen to HR. But if we're going to talk about words and emotion and demotivation and motivation without talking figure, then nobody is going to listen to HR. So for example, this slide, reinforcing organizational values, I think we have to go through each and every single value. If we are saying that we're investing in people, if we are saying that our people is the most important asset, then we have to practice it. It's not only slogan for the newspaper or the public. We have to let our people know our values, that really we living the value, not only just put it on a wall. Mr. Kazi, what do you think?
Yeah, very much. And at the same time, when COVID-19 and during the pandemic, there must have been a reason to become agile, as we saw in the previous idea, that we needed to support our employees at home, support with their technology learning, support with how they will be functioning within the family. Do they have a space where, and how to discuss this with family members, with children, that Papa, when I'm in that room for some time, you may not at that time come, or tell the office that, okay, my son and daughter may peep here, but please don't mind, because they've never seen such a thing. So this whole thing can be made informal if necessary, because otherwise you're not really supporting them. And some people, by nature, we humans are change resistant, and so much change in so little time, HR needs to understand those people and give them that kind of moral support, if necessary, even going beyond the employee, and to have programs for the family. I know DHL, they were one of my clients in Bangladesh for a long time, not recently though, but they would bring in normal time children at office, and they show what does the papa do at office, and da 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 da. So I'm sure companies now can do, they can go to their homes, and they even can have counselors to help with, even, don't mind my saying so, there were cases in Bangladesh, I don't know in yours, because people are staying together, there are more challenges even between husband and wife. Don't get me wrong, this is the statistics. So now this way they can support. Now, about the values, I say, some new values will creep in, such as I was mentioning, how to be resilient. The company needs to be resilient to be back quickly. It has fell down, but how to quickly get back on your feet, or be agile. So those that needs to be communicated, and those needs to be turned into actual behaviors, not just saying in rosy plates, our company values are such and such and such. Those don't work. They would say, okay, our strategic planning, our professor would be able to tell, strategic planning used to be, okay, maybe 5 years, 3 years, 2 years. Now it could be 2 weeks sometimes. The strategy may need to change every month. I don't know. I mean, those values also needs to be incorporated, even if temporarily. That's my take on this. Yeah.
Yes. I think that each organization needs to revisit their values, even revisit their weekly strategic planning, not even yearly, as you said, weekly strategic planning. Yes, Dr. Rabia.
Yes, you're right. Actually, we had, it's, as you said, it's a series of meetings with HR professionals and business excellence professionals. So at the time of the pandemic in April and March and maybe May as well, we had some interviews with HR leaders, directors who are working on the field. And they're telling us it's working on daily basis. So they have a team or committee that's working, take decisions on daily basis, because the variables were really a lot of variables. Yes, a lot of variables. But that's again, and talking about the values part again, I believe the current situation has shown us that a lot of brands, nice names, big names, when it comes to the real challenge, they didn't fulfill any of their values. Okay, they're talking about people first, or putting a lot of increased engagement and very nice words. And when it comes to the real challenge, they had to do something totally different. Okay, so at this real time, the real challenges, this differentiate between the good companies with real values and culture values that's rooted in the organization, and it begins from the belief from the top management and across the whole organizations and others. Okay, so it's very important.
I would add that HR need to redesign your job description to accommodate kind of remote work and to come up with the KPIs in order to evaluate performance. That is one thing that you have to do immediately. You have to take that action to redesign the job description to accommodate remote work. How they going to assess performance of people working from home? That is also one of the scenarios that we need to think of.
Dr. Mohammad Rabia, I was wondering, we have so many, shall I say, in the audience, could they share some of their experience? I don't know, I mean, in Arabic or in English. I mean, I would love to hear some voice. Otherwise, it will be only three of us. If anyone, welcome.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, please, if anyone like to share his or her experience, you are more than welcome. We have some things in the chat so we can discuss also while we are discussing.
Sure.
But again, one of the key things that we have seen, it's about how can we really recognize the employees' efforts, okay? Especially for frontliners. I mean that many times in this very hard situation where many people are still working online or sitting at home, they are very afraid from the coronavirus. Many people in the frontliners were delivering food or supplies or medicine and so on. So these people are really doing great work and they're putting their lives at risk and their family's life, because when they go back to home and so on. So how can HR also play a part in recognizing people's efforts, especially in the hard times?
Number one, don't terminate them, and don't cut their salaries. That's very important. Maybe on some other stages, you can give them a free vacation. Give them something in the newspaper. Normal recognition plans. I mean, it's a time now to recognize people's efforts, especially those who work hard, those who contribute to the organization and to the society as well. We need to say thank you. That's also translation of the values. So it's not only giving them a certificate or a bonus, but make sure that they stay in the organization. Make sure that their efforts is known to the public. I think with the social media, we can know who's employee did for the organization. We can definitely do that. Yes, sir.
Mr. Kazi, you have any comment?
No, I think the point has been made. I have seen how the recognition is given, but the true recognition is actually the job security, solid job security. That is a powerful thing to say. We do very lighter things, such as taking their pictures with the CEO, or and even I saw a mini documentary of the employees doing so much, and there was a song. There was a song about them also, which is good. But at the end, as our socialist friend has said, no, I'm just joking. Our Professor Dr. Amar read a lot of non-capitalist books for the right reasons. No. I'm just joking. Of course, the best capitalism is when it's sustainable, and without the talent, is no doubt anywhere in the world, is the people who actually run the technology and everything. Although maybe 50 years from now, they will say artificial intelligence will take over, but there's another discussion, another webinar, not here. So I appreciate Dr. Amar's comment. Yeah.
Maybe this is another webinar on HR and artificial intelligence, because I am sure that the artificial intelligence, they're going to take HR out of the market. That will be the
Please
future.
make sure that your mic is off.
Yeah. Also, you can put everyone's mic off by
So
going
in the
to.
reports, but
Yeah. Okay.
Any other good questions?
let's go for the other point until people are ready with their questions. Someone wanted to contribute, but still have problems in this.
No, I will move to point number 7, Dr. Muhammad Rabia. Focus on employee wellness.
Yes.
I mean, number 6 and 7, I think they are very important. Educating and equipping the workforce. A real situation where our organization stands right now. What's our plan for the future? Can we survive? What if? What if? I think that is the time for us, HR, to do that, to educate and equip the workforce with real knowledge about the situation. So everybody will be prepared. I mean, okay, everybody can leave the job, whether you are in your home country or as an expat. As we said at the beginning, a great number of people, they left the job. So it is time to educate our people and equip them with the future scenarios of the organization. God forbid, if we go to second wave or third wave or fourth wave, what will happen? We have to prepare them. But then in slide number 7, we need to focus on employee wellness. What do you think of that, Dr. Kazi? Focus on employee wellness. I don't like to talk too much. Everybody should talk.
No. It's this thing. I alluded to it in my previous discussion, because if you are in a home, that means you are not walking much. The basic wellness in my understanding is, I read a famous book called Eat, Move, Sleep. So eating healthy and move basically means exercising, whether it's freehand exercising, it's walking, it's going out for fresh air, taking vitamin D in the sun, and sleeping. I don't know about you, but my sleeping pattern has changed. And this webinar now in Bangladesh, it's, let me put it this way, 1 o'clock in the morning. I would have said no before. I said yes, but because I sleep about 2 o'clock in the morning, not before that. I used to sleep at 11 p.m., but now it's 2 in the morning. So I don't know how I will go back to normal. You have to suggest me. So I'm not the right person to some extent, but I would say without wellness, people would not have positive mindset. There would be even paranoia, depression, because it's a lot of claustrophobic environment. It's confined in a small space, and variety is not there. So I would say HR, okay, some big companies used to have libraries, have to have gym, have to have meditation experts on campus, on the company campus, I mean. So a lot of stuff I know. But now, how are they going to do it? That's the challenge they need to meet. even over Zoom. Okay, my elder son is doing his classes for University of Alberta, Canada. He came back, so I understand. His all classes are like their daytime and our nighttime, diametrically opposite time with Alberta. It's like if they're 12 o'clock p.m., you're 12 a.m. So I look at my son and I worry, but I said, okay, we don't want to see you during daytime. You sleep. So basically, he sleeps 8 hours during daytime. So I know I'm talking about something else, but drawing on this, the HR can map the lifestyle of the employees, the realities, ground realities, and then roll out programs, ideas about sleep, about food, and about exercise, movement. Otherwise, only lip service won't work. They have to be specific, my friend. Then we can say HR is doing something. That's my take on this.
My point is in focus on employee wellness is to revisit the medical plan, the coverage.
Okay.
Plus, this is one part. Second part is to make sure that everybody wear masks.
Sorry, everybody?
Should wear a mask.
Ah, yes. Oh my God. Basics. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, basics. A lot of people now, they forget that we are in Corona time. Okay, so that we have to make sure. There's some good comments on the chat. Maybe we have to address them. Like somebody saying that we stay away from keeping the employees stressed. I think everybody's stressed. Top management stressed, HR stressed, everybody, president stressed, kings are stressed, everybody, entire globe, everyone is stressed.
Maybe talk about organizations only, Dr. Amr. We don't go to this higher level.
Yeah, but the organization part of the global, So if the top is stressed, organization will suffer. No, I think the HR should do some entertainment to the staff from time to time to put them away from stress. I think that's also a very crucial role nowadays. Dr. Intisar saying that yes, we have seen that due to a lot of platforms, free platforms and training platforms, a lot of people, they go through it. There is no need to go into training, I think, and that will suffer also universities and colleges. People who their family suffered financially, they will never be able to go to private universities. So maybe universities can revisit their quotations. Maybe they are very high, or maybe we can do installment in a very long installment. You can keep the certificate. You don't have to give it to the student until all tuition are paid. Maybe that could be an answer to this dilemma. One of the challenges of distance learning, work from home, very difficult, and work hours. I think this situation will going to continue. I was just talking to a friend of mine about the number of training platforms. They provide free training. My organization, for example, suffered from the situation. We don't offer free training. So I think with all fairness, everybody will suffer. Universities will suffer, or companies will suffer, training companies will suffer, everybody. So these facts that we have to survive and live with.
If I may add, yeah.
Sure, please add.
If I may add one point under wellness, you have said it right, because the wellness, I talked it from a very day-to-day point of view, but you rightly pointed out about the health insurance or provisions and a mask and ideas, disseminating ideas about proper hand washing or social distancing. This is, but also I want to point out, one of our friends wrote about stress, and you also talked about stress. My relationship with stress has changed forever about 5 years back, when on a TED Talk by Kelly McGonigal, I watched a TED Talk where she shared research about how to make stress your friend. Long story short, she showed, for longitudinal research study comprising 30,000 people in America, in Massachusetts, she convincingly presents a case that those who think stress is bad, they contract illnesses, disease happens, and they die early. It is a very dramatic idea. Some of you may not believe this, but I also read the book by the same author. The point is, without stress, we become lethargic also. And of course, extreme stress is bad. Anybody would agree. But some general people believe if the stress increases, it is bad. No, we humans have huge capacity to adjust, adapt, and to be resilient. And you may have read the book by Nassim Taleb, The Anti-Fragile. The gentleman, of course, is now an American, but he's from, I forgot this, Lebanon. The Lebanese American, Nassim Nicholas Taleb, wrote a famous book called, not a book, it's a very practical thing. The same guy wrote The Black Swan, saying that, like the pandemic, people think, oh, these things don't happen. The black swans exist. Once in a century, now we see it came back again. It was in 17, 18. You know, the Spanish flu I'm talking about. Now, after 100 years, we have it. So my point is, I want to encourage 27 listeners here, our friends who are listening, that stress need not be seen only as a bad thing. Stress, when you are stressed, you can say, I'm excited. I'm excited, meaning I can bolster my ability to manage stress. And I'm not talking about extreme stress. If you don't have a job, you don't have food on the table, talks will not do, of course. But still, we have tremendous resilience in humans. I just thought I mentioned this. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
I have a comment here regarding the wellness point. And again, we're looking from the two sides, the bad practice and the good practice. I know one of the companies that they had medical insurance for their employees and their families. Okay, and when the pandemic happened and they were renewing their package, definitely the insurance companies has raised the prices. Okay, and the company again wanted to reduce the costs. So what did they do? They have excluded the family members from the insurance, and also they have asked the employees to partially pay part of their amounts. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is not very good practice. Yes, we can understand, but again, this is not a good practice. The other way around, like our colleague Muhammad Dusuki is saying here in the chat, that they took list of all employees who have chronic diseases, and while the lockdown, they sent them their medicine to their homes. See what the difference? Okay. What the employees will appreciate, will be loyal for. Now,
what message you give?
Yes.
What message you give to your employees?
Yes.
They were with you while you are making huge profits. Now it's a time for you to be with them before you take a decision to lay off them.
So again, this is, Dr. Amr, is conceptually, do you look at your people as your partners, or they are working in the organization for a certain time and you can get rid of them at any time? So
I just like to stress on that. If organization keep treating people bad, one day will come, they will never ever be able to hire good people. No one will come, no one will join because you have very negative reputation.
Yes,
You
and
need
even
very
for the people
negative brand.
staying, yes, actually, even for the people staying, okay, they are either planning to leave whenever there is a possibility because they will not
Yes.
forget for you
Yes.
what you are doing. People are smart; they are not, fools. And also, and they will need to be productive. Okay, so okay, you are keeping me there. Okay, I'm staying and I'm not productive. Okay, why shall I care? I know people who used to work long hours and overtime and so on. So if you are dealing with them this way, خلاص, okay, I will not work except from the time and I'm doing my job, the minimum efforts possible. So it's again, that's the dilemma. Okay, where to start, where to end. It's very, very challenging. Okay, and
One
also
last point. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll ask
No.
Mr. Ghazi also, Mr. Ghazi, please also the all the references that you talked about, please write them in the chat so that the people can have a look at them. Okay,
Okay.
either about the stress TEDx talk or about the books and so on.
Sure. I just wanted to say that what you just discussed was very starkly presented in one of the real estate companies in my country, Bangladesh, where it is like $1 billion company, okay? The owners are filthy rich. And yet, during the pandemic, of course, the real estate industry was hit badly. And they let people go just like that. And they have so much money, you see. And Dr. Amar said they made a lot of money, but at the slightest opportunity now, they are getting rid of them. So unethical. I wish there were law. I wish there were law to catch them. But sad, only moral law is there. But
Yes.
the country's law is not there. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other comments, Dr. Rabia? Dr. Rabia,
Our colleague Ashraf Nofal, he wants to have a comment. Ashraf, please.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Good evening, Dr. Rabia. It's great to speak to you. After I left Kuwait, I haven't seen you or speak to you since then. Dr. Amr Sadeh, very happy to see you. I've been attending many sessions with you in the Shrem sessions in Egypt before I traveled 6 years ago. So I'm very happy to see you today. And maybe when I came already to Egypt, so maybe we will reunite again and we will be in contact.
Sure.
Dr. Kasi, thank you very much for your valuable
Thank you.
conversations and valuable examples, and good evening to you as well.
Thank you.
Okay, what I want to share that I am a senior leader in HR. I used to be an area HR leader for a multinational company, and I was in charge for 3 countries, and actually it's a hospitality company. And if you speak about the real estate and how much they were hit, then compared to hospitality was really hit badly during this pandemic. I was in charge of 12 hotels actually, or 12 properties with more than 4,000 employees in the Gulf area. The thing is that I've been hearing the session and all the talk about that HR and the valuable employees and how to retain the people and the training and all these things and how to support during pandemic. To be honest with you, in the crisis, only what matters for the owners are money. They don't care about values. They don't care about employees. They don't care about anything. And as you said, I've been working with multi-billion owners. They have multi-billions. And the first thing, and actually they did not lose yet. They were doing very well and they were over budget, but they have other companies who lost, not the hospitality yet. And they started to lay off and they started to deduct. And this was the first and really the first decision to take is layoff to save money. And not only laying off, which I can understand, because the payroll, especially in the Gulf area, is a big burden on the companies, with all the benefits and related things to the payroll, from housing, schooling, medical insurance, travels, a lot of related to the payroll, not only salaries, but also the benefits and the related. So I can understand layoff, but what I cannot understand is to lay off people, 200 or 250 or 260 people, and you don't want to pay their rights to them. I can lay you off, but I pay you. But to tell you, thank you very much, I don't need you, you will be laid off, and I don't have money to pay you your dues. So maybe I can pay it in installments for 1 year or 9 months or whatever. This was really something that is not acceptable at this time. And maybe I was a person who really, and I'm like this since all the companies I worked with. I'm a person that I have to say what I have to say. What I have to do, I have to say. So I walk the talk. And I believe in my employees, and I believe that I am the support for my employees. I have to speak the right thing. I have to follow the labor law. I have to do all the things. And then you are surprised from owners, for example, to tell you, I don't care about labor law. If you tell me labor law, I don't care about labor law. If anybody is complaining, let them go and complain in the labor office. I don't care. And when you speak to your company, which is a multinational company, speaking about values, speaking about doing the right thing, and speaking about all these nice values during the nice time, they tell you, we support the owner. The owner decision, this is the money of the owner, and we do support the owner's decision. So it's not a matter of HR can support, but it's really, I believe it's good and bad, like you said. Big companies with nice principles and nice values and nice things, during the crisis, you cannot find these people. The only thing that matters is money. And at the end, for my dignity and not to lose myself and not to be part of this, I prefer to step out, because I will not tolerate to ruin the life of 250 and 300 people in order to say yes to my CEO or to my GM or to whatever. Then I lose myself at the end. I can lose my job, it's not an issue. I can find another job, but I cannot lose myself and my principles and the company that I worked for and I believed in. I cannot
Mr.
easily. Yeah, Dr. Amr.
Mr. Ashraf, look, I do understand that very well, because I work in Gulf for 15 years. And I work in hospitality for 20 years. In the financial crisis in the late 90s, the owner, which is the late Mr. Hussein Salim, God rest his soul, he's a good guy, regardless of his political thing, but he's a good guy. We never laid off people. We pay salaries, we pay bonus, and people stay. But in the Gulf, it's something else. It's another role game. And I understand that this is really, it will be a political webinar.
Mr. Amr, if you allow me, again, I believe this doesn't depend on a certain location. This happens everywhere. I know many people, big guys.
It depends on the person. It depends on the person.
So, but again, Mr. Ashraf, the good side about this, that what we're talking about, actually, we are not talking about the utopia and about nice talks and then everyone goes to the real life afterwards. We are here trying to, again, put the values, to raise the awareness, and to ensure that we are supporting people like yourself who are defending their values. So what it's part of what they're doing is this is the right thing to do, okay?
And how many person, Dr. Rabia, how many person can compromise their job and can compromise their comfort zone with their children there and school and so, to stand for the principle? It's very, very rare, and everybody, when you speak to, I would say 90%, they will tell you, listen, that's a high wave let the wave pass, then we can see what will happen. So this is on the floor, what is happening. I want to continue a small thing when it comes to the employees. The problem is that the employees who were staying or working right now, like Mr. Kasi said and like Mr. Amr Sadiq said, how can these people survive? I have colleagues in the executive committee members. When I'm leaving, they were telling me, lucky you that you are leaving, because they are working with 25% of their salaries or 50% of their salaries, no benefits. Who's staying at home? They tell them, listen, the hotel is empty. Leave your apartment. Bring your children. Come and sit in the hotel. So he brings his children, and he's staying in 2 rooms. The room is 45 square meters. So it's really to a people serve this company for a long time because of the cost or money. And if you look the other way, how much saving cost was done during this pandemic, from not only from me but from my colleagues as well, I would tell you millions happened with our know-how and with our knowledge and with our to save this person and or to save the owner. And still the owner need more. They are greedy, Dr. Rabia. If you give him 1 million, they need 10 million. That's the problem of these companies or owners or whatever. They don't think about all these values that we are talking about. This is what I really realized. I've been working in HR since long time now, but this is what I've seen in many companies I worked, and all of them are international companies, by the way.
Thank you so much, dear Ashraf.
Ashraf, are you in Egypt right now?
Yes.
Okay, come and visit me. We have to have private discussion.
Sure, Dr. Amr. If you can share your contact number, I would be. This will be appreciated. I'm actually in Alexandria, but we'll travel to Cairo next week, so maybe I can pass by.
Okay, I will put my mobile number so you can call me.
Excellent.
So it's thank you, Mr. Ashraf, for this. And
Thank
again,
you,
what I'm saying here, it's about the good people will not compromise. The good people will leave. The companies or this organization will lose. Maybe they will win, or maybe they will still be greedy. Okay, but at the long run, or mid-term, they will lose. And that's what I'm talking about. Again, we are not educating people or the big guys or giving them nice stories or telling the HR people nice stories. What we're trying to do is support people like yourself and good people and even people with good intention, what need to be done. Okay, that's our part. Okay, and then it's up to HR people and the executives to take the right decision. Okay, and actually we're taking almost a long time. We were planning for 1 hour, so I think we'll have like maybe 5-10 minutes maximum to conclude our session. So also we'd like to hear also from other people their comments or their questions and so on. And also if anyone interested to get certificate of attendance today, I'll write an email at the end so that you can send your name to this email, and then we can provide you with certificate for attendance for today's meeting. So Dr. Amr,
a digital one, a digital certificate.
Yes, digital certificate. Yes. I have a concern here, Dr. Amr, also on Mr. Kazi, because Mr. Kazi is the big trainer and Dr. Amr is head of training organization. I mean, we have seen now that the training was completely stopped in almost all organizations. Consulting also was stopped, okay, and say that's it, okay. So the smart guys say that we lay off people, reduce their salaries, and stop training and consulting, okay. What's your comment on this?
Worldwide, training is the first decision organization takes because it's investment. There is no need for it right now. So that is worldwide decision, and during normal time, not only during pandemic. It's a wrong decision. It's a wrong decision. Maybe they should reduce it a little bit. They focus on certain topics, certain skills, like we did during the financial turmoil. we did not stop the training, but we direct the program into cost-saving program, cost-conscious. That's my advice for cutting the training cost. For consultancy, yes, because if there is no business, why should I consult? Why should I take consultation if there is no business? So it makes a little bit of sense. I mean, I can understand it's a problem with the consultancy firm, with the training firm. And don't forget that a lot of training platforms now are for free. So why should organization pay for training? As simple as that. And from elite universities, and Coursera, for example, you take courses completely free from elite universities worldwide. And if you like the certificates, you pay only $75 to get the digital certificate. But for consultancy, I think if the consultancy firm can come up with a new program to enlightening, educating organization how to survive and sustain business during such crisis, maybe they will be able to sell to market their service again. Otherwise, I'm sorry, but they have to suffer like any other organization suffering.
Yeah, you have asked such a difficult question or reality. Okay, I was doing, let's say, 80% private sector, 10% non-profit, and 10% government. But after the pandemic, the private sector has become like 20%. But anyway, my income has gone down to 25%. I'll be honest. It's like 20, but not zero, fortunately.
Alhamdulillah, that you Alhamdulillah.
It didn't go to 0%, honestly. One good news is our governments have, government has money. So I have a contract now for the next 11 months. So it's like break even I have. So I was so happy at a personal level that the government I didn't pay attention to, which pays like peanuts, but still is and I don't have a travel. I used to travel so much. Now, my expenses are less. I'm talking personally. However, my first face-to-face training happened 2 weeks back, and another face-to-face training coming up in 10 days from now. So market is coming back. I'm surprised, pleasantly surprised. But mostly these are banks and non-profit organizations and government. If it is private sectors, only bank for me. But there are NGOs, INGOs have the money. They are evaluated on how much money they can spend. Do you know that? NGOs have to spend money, spend in the right way, of course. And the government.
As long as we are safe, alhamdulillah, no problem.
Okay.
That's good. Actually,
I'm safe personally.
Yes, I'll tell you my opinion about this. Actually,
yes.
If people are really smart, this is the best time to train their people. But train them on what? Actually, the work has changed, okay? So people now, maybe you are laying off people. So the person will do more than one job. So he needs to be trained on different skills, different jobs.
Yes.
Training to how to deal online and do meetings online. So it could be different type of training. You don't have to go for soft skills or nice things, nice to have. You're not going for a nice time to in a very 5-star hotel. No, it's different.
Look, okay? a lot of people, they don't know how to work remotely. Yes. So you have to give them training.
Yes,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes, as you said, it's about raising your skills, getting new skills, and so on. So there's a lot of potential. Actually, what I'm getting now, what people are asking me, it's about leadership development, because the pandemic has shown that they have real problem or real challenge in their leaders. Okay, so the leadership development is a very crucial part, communication and so on. So it's very important. As for consulting, it depends on what type of consulting. So if you're looking for the digital solutions, now
Yeah.
it's your golden age. Everyone's going digital. If you're looking process efficiency, cost optimization, and so on, and also you have a good area to work. So it's not about just stopping training or stopping consulting. No, you have to think what you need actually.
HR consulting will not work.
Actually, what's can really work is HR consulting. HR people need a lot of support actually these days. Okay,
Yes, yes.
but the issue is that people are not smart. They are cutting costs without really looking midterm or even long term. So that's very important. We have to finish in 5 minutes because
Yes,
okay.
please.
The last thing that you have written here, Dr. Amr, it's about the new age policy. I think we have talked about this
Yes.
before, but again, it's very important to have new policies to cope with the new changes in the market.
Right, you are.
No, thank you. Thank you. Also, training has become very inexpensive. So companies can take benefit of that. As Professor Amar has said, online, but also VILT, virtual instructor-led training. We are giving a lot of discounts, even face-to-face training. I mean, face-to-face via Zoom. So Summer, this is a good time to develop, as you said. Thank you. And that's my last word. Thank you. Thank you.
So
Thank you, everybody.
thank you so much.
Dr. Muhammad, for inviting us. Thank you, Dr. Kazi, for being with us. And thank all participants for this session. Thank you very much.
Actually, it was great pleasure to have this discussion with these great people, great minds, and actually sharing knowledge and exchanging knowledge. Again, we believe that it's part of our mission, okay, especially in these hard times, to relieve people from stress, engage them through having these intellectual discussions and helping and supporting people, HR people, and all leaders with these values that you are in the right direction. You need to do all the things. So thank you so much for everything. And inshallah, this will not be the last session that we have. I'm looking forward to have you again in other sessions with us.
Inshallah.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.